Have you ever heard of Lepa Radic, a teenage resistance fighter during World War II? The Partisans were one such group that emerged and fought for their freedom, and Lepa Radic was a brave young woman who fought alongside them at just 17 years of age. Despite her courage, she was captured by the Nazis and executed at their hands. Join me as we explore the story of this young woman who defied the odds and fought for what she believed in, even in the face of death. During the Second World War, the Eastern Front was marked by brutal fighting. The Nazis had conquered a significant amount of land across Europe, resulting in the occupation of several countries. This translated to the subjugation of the local population to a police state and widespread oppression, including the horrific persecution of minorities. Undesirable individuals were subjected to mass deportations to concentration camps, where they were eventually executed in gas chambers. Throughout Europe, pockets of resistance emerged as groups defied their occupiers and fought for their freedom. One such group was the Partisans, who engaged in battles across different countries. Among the Partisans was a brave young woman, Lepa Radic, who at just 17 years of age fought alongside them. Despite her courage, she was captured by the Nazis and executed at their hands, despite being a teenager. Despite her humble beginnings, Lepa was a diligent student known for her hard work and conscientious attitude. She attended elementary school and the Women's School of Crafts in nearby Bosanska Krupa, where she developed a strong interest in reading. She delved into political ideas at a young age and joined the League of Communist Youth of Yugoslavia and the Communist Party of Yugoslavia at the age of 15, displaying a deep political awareness. In 1941, at the height of World War II, Lepa was well aware of the Nazis' aggressive expansion and joined the resistance movement. Despite being a teenager, she was committed to the cause and determined to fight for her beliefs. Hitler had plans to attack the Soviet Union and invade many of the Balkan states, but Yugoslavia initially signed a defensive agreement known as the Tripartite Act, aligning themselves with the Axis powers and the Nazis. However, the Yugoslavian government later changed its stance and resisted the Nazi invasion. 2 days following the British-aided coup to establish King Peter II as the head of government, the Yugoslavian military executed a coup. Although this move increased Yugoslavia's nationalism, it provoked Hitler to issue Führer Directive 25, deeming the new government hostile and subsequently ordering the German army to invade on April 6, 1941. 11 days later, Yugoslavia surrendered, leading to the annexation of much of its territory by the Nazis. The newly formed independent state of Croatia, comprising Croatia and Bosnia-Herzegovina under the rule of Ustachia, was particularly brutal and oppressive. Ante Pavelić led the puppet organization that perpetrated horrific acts of persecution and genocide, with Serbs living in the territory as their primary target. The Ustachia's goal was to create an ethically pure Croatia, with plans to kill 1/3 of all Serbs, expel 1/3, and force the remaining third to convert to Catholicism. Numerous documented cases of cold-blooded murder exist from this period, including the beheading of a young ethnic Serb near Lepa Radic's hometown by Ustachia's soldiers using a saw. The laws that were being enforced by the government were reminiscent of the Nazi race laws that were to blame for the destruction and loss of life that occurred during the Holocaust. During the invasion of Yugoslavia by the Nazis, the familiarity of the locals with the mountainous regions prevented the Germans from gaining control. This resulted in the formation of two different resistance movements, the Partisans and the Chetniks. In spite of the fact that both organizations were opposed to Nazi rule, their methods were very different. Others among the Chetniks, out of fear for the spread of communism in Yugoslavia, were reluctant to put up a fight against the Nazis, even though there were Chetniks who openly defied the Nazis. The Partisans wanted immediate action to free themselves from Nazi occupation, and this brought the Chetniks into conflict with the Partisans. The Chetniks hoped that an Allied invasion would free them, but this brought them into conflict with the Partisans. Lepa's father and uncles joined the Partisans in July of 1941, but were arrested by the Ustachia in November of that same year for their participation. After some time, the Radic family and Lepa were freed by the Partisans. This event prompted Lepa and her sister Dara to become more involved in the activities of the Partisans. In addition to her duties as a nurse and recruiter in the 7th Partisan Company of the 2nd Krajewski Detachment, Lepa took part in military operations during her time with the organization. In January of 1943, the Nazis initiated an operation against the Partisans that would prove to be catastrophic for the resistance movement and come perilously close to wiping it out entirely. Lepa was in charge of transporting wounded soldiers to a shelter and hospital in Gramek during the Battle of Nerevar. This was an essential task for the Partisans, as their leader, Tito, had decreed that the wounded must never be left on the battlefield. While attempting to save women and children from the area in February 1943, Lepa was taken prisoner by a German detachment and held for interrogation. She valiantly fought against the SS division and Nazi soldiers, shooting at them until she was finally captured. After she was taken captive, Lepa Radic was subsequently incarcerated by the Germans. She was kept in solitary confinement and was tortured in an effort to extract information that would help them defeat the Partisans. In spite of being in a great deal of pain, she did not waver in her determination to be a staunch adversary of the Partisans, which earned her the scorn of the Nazis. On February 8, 1943, she was found guilty and sentenced to death in Bazanska Krupa. After being taken from her cell, Lepa Radic was taken to the execution site by German soldiers. The gallows, which were thrown together in a hurry, consisted of a rope that was attached to a tree and a box. After Lepa had been assisted in standing, a noose was hung around her neck. She yelled out to the people who had gathered there as she stood there, "May the Communist Party and the Partisans live long and prosper. People, you need to fight for your freedom. Do not give in to those who would harm you. Even though I am going to die, there are those who will get revenge for me." Lepa Radic was given one final opportunity to spare her life by the commander in charge of the execution. He asked her to name the Partisans in exchange for this opportunity. However, in her response, she said, "I am not a betrayer of my people in any way. Those who you are looking for will make themselves known to you once they have eliminated every single one of you villains to the very last man." After the box was kicked out from underneath her, Lepa Radic was then hung in front of a small gathering of people. She had just turned 17 at the time. The execution of the bandit girl in Posanska Krupa was an act of unprecedented defiance because her bravery embodied the spirit of the partisan movement. Her execution was carried out by the Partisans. After the war, the Yugoslav Communist Party, which was led by Tito, acknowledged Lepa Radic's bravery and presented her with the Order of the People's Hero as a token of their gratitude. In spite of the fact that she was only 17 years old at the time, she defied the oppression of one of the evilest regimes in human history, the Third Reich, and her legacy continues to encourage others to stand up to oppression. As we conclude the story of Lepa Radic, it is clear that she was a true hero who fought for her beliefs and the freedom of her country. Her bravery and courage in the face of unimaginable horrors serve as an inspiration to us all. Lepa's story is just one example of the many individuals who fought against oppression during World War II, and it is important to remember and honor their sacrifices. It is crucial that we continue to educate ourselves about the atrocities of the past, so that we may never forget the lessons learned and work towards a better future. Let us honor Lepa Radic's memory and the memory of all those who fought for freedom and justice. May we never forget their bravery and determination to stand up against evil. If you found this video informative, please consider sharing it with others and subscribing to our channel for more thought-provoking content.